Welcome back to NTV News First Edition. Money is the #1 cause of stress for Canadians. A survey by Leger found that Canadians worry about money more than anything else. And the pandemic has only added to this stress. Well, joining me now to talk about money and stress is Dr. Janine Hubbard with this week's Get Psyched with Dr. Janine. So great to see you again.
Well, thanks as always, Tony.
So what is the impact of financial stress on our mental health and on our physical health?
Well, I think it's important to know that, listen, every single one of us will at some point in our lives experience some degree of stress about finances. That's just part of life. It's a question of how severe it is, how long it is, and how much it's impacting. And it's also really important to remember that it can impact people at any stage of wealth or income. That's a common misconception because it's a question about how much wiggle room do you have in your finances if something unexpected happens. And that's, I think, what we're seeing, the perfect storm of financial pressures right at the moment. So we know it has a massive impact on physical health and mental health. The #1 thing it tends to do is it affects your sleep. And we all know how important sleep is in terms of our ability to focus, our ability to concentrate, our irritability, and then also our ability to cope. So it tends to then lead to anxiety, depression, a lot of maladaptive coping strategies like substance use impacting our eating, and then a lot of avoidant behaviors. We've seen it have a physical effect on our physical health, but it also then starts to impact things like your romantic relationship, your family relationships, and then even with your social network, and tends to lead to a lot of avoidant withdrawal from your social supports, who are exactly who you need to have around you when you're feeling stressed.
So what can we do?
Talk about it. What we're doing here tonight is step 1, because there is so much perceived stigma and shame and judgment around the idea of, oh, you didn't manage your money very well. Here's the thing. The best laid plans, the most wonderful financial planning can go awry. I can tell you, none of us anticipated we were going to have over 2 years of a pandemic, you know, a global supply chain shortage, and like what feels like every day increases in our fuel costs, which we know are impacting all of the costs. None of us predicted that. That's not judgment. That's not value. That's, we've been hit with something unexpected. For other people, it could be an accident, it could be a divorce, it could be loss or injury or illness. So it's the saying, right, there is no stigma, there is no shame, or at least there shouldn't be. So confronting it on yourself, first of all. So actually stop avoiding, pull out the numbers, write down the numbers, have a real frank conversation with yourself, with your loved ones. And also, you know what? It's time to be open about it and being okay with the, hey, you know what? My finances are tight right now. I can't go out to dinner. Or, you know what? I know you've got this big wedding coming up, but that's just, it's out of my budget right now. And being okay with initiating those conversations and having those conversations. And here's the thing, it's kind of like the whole pandemic. We're not all in exactly the same boat, but we know that everybody is being impacted right now. So you might be surprised at how many of your friends and family are actually kind of relieved when you say, you know what, things are really tight right now. Can we maybe alter some of our plans?
You know, we know, as you just said, that the current surge in costs is really impacting the most vulnerable in our communities. So what can we do to help there? Well,
I was hearing a story this morning about people unable to afford to get to the food bank. Again, guys, we know as a society we are really good at trying to help out with our friends and neighbors. We're all tired, we're all stretched, but if you have it within your means, now is the time, just like those Christmas drives. Think about, are there ways that I can help out? Even if it's just a small donation, it's not as much as I might like. Or getting creative, going, you know what? I have a whole lot of loyalty points, and I know that those can be redeemed for groceries or gas or really practical things. And sometimes it's reaching out to a friend or a family member going, here, why don't you go redeem those and go fill up the tank? And then it's, you know, as always, the little gestures. look, nothing, you know, if you are having to drive, say, for work anyway, being able to say, look, I'm going into town. Either do you need a lift, or are there things you want me to pick up while I'm there? For some people, that can make the difference between them, you know, being able to go and put supper on the table tonight. So reaching out, and on the opposite end, being okay, like I said, talking about it and letting people know if things are really tight for you at the moment, so that they, you know, might be more willing to sort of say, here's some things that I would love to do to help you out. So not being ashamed about it, no value judgments to it, and if you are really feeling overwhelmed, it's time to address it. Again, this is a good time for all of us to review our finances and our financial stress. There is credit counseling available. There are conversations with your bank. The hard part is picking up the phone and making that call. But you owe it to your physical health, you owe it to your mental health, and you owe it to your loved ones and family to be addressing it and minimizing the stress impact.
Absolutely. Dr. Janine Hubbard, thank you so much for coming in.
Thanks, Tony.